which tells me that before this, my hair was too long.
So good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I would like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler? Oh, you're on mute.
Here.
Mr. Vieira?
Here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here.
Dr. Selly?
Here.
And Dr. Vogt?
Here.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper and adequate and electronic notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and the New Jersey Administrative Code, Title V, Chapter 39, Section 1.5, Notice of Remote Public Meetings as required by law.
Good. Thank you so much, Heather. So we have a full house tonight, and on the agenda, we're going to start off with a presentation about the Wave Spa. And to do that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Sommer, who's going to walk us through the presentation. So welcome, Michael, and your team.
So the council president, just by way of a little bit of introduction, the council approved as part of a redevelopment approval back in, I think it was 2018, project that was known as the Oneida Beach Club. And that's the property that's right next door to the Wave Hotel. And, I'm probably telling you what you already know, but in any event, sometime in the last in the last year, Mr. Sommer reached out for us and told us that because of, he'll explain to you the reasons why they are proposing some design changes to that project. And they're coming to you, obviously, for approval as the redevelopment. So, Mike, sorry, I didn't mean to pause you, but I just thought we should get that on the record for folks that are watching.
No problem, Lou. Thank you. And thank you, Council President. That actually was a perfect segue, Lou. So first of all, in terms of introductions, I'm Michael Sommer, Head of Development for Kushner, and we greatly appreciate your time tonight. As Lou said, we're here to present the proposed Wave Spa Hotel. And in terms of where we were and how we got here, COVID did happen. The good news is, as it relates to hospitality and Long Branch in particular, the Wave Spa the Wave Hotel that of course we own and operate actually did quite well through COVID. That's the good news. The bad news is the capital markets essentially dried up for hospitality. That shouldn't come as any great surprise to anyone. And therefore we took the opportunity to really further evaluate the design that was previously approved for the Oneida Hotel. And frankly found that it was far from efficient in terms of design. Why? Because although it was configured in such a way where it had great ocean views or proposed to have great ocean views, it was a fully configured single loaded corridor and therefore was not very efficient from a cost standpoint. So we took the opportunity and took the time in order to redesign the hotel. And what I'd like to do, if I can share my screen, is walk you through a slide deck that we've prepared for tonight's presentation.
Mike, before you started, could you just because I know the mayor and I both asked this question early on, so we all understand the difference between a single loaded and what you have, so that council understands what we're talking about.
Sure, thank you, Lou. Very simply, a single loaded corridor is a corridor that runs the length of a building that very simply has rooms in this case, or apartments in the case of residential, on one side of the hallway, versus a corridor which is constructed to have rooms in this case, or apartments as an example, on both sides of the hallway. As you can imagine, when you're building infrastructure for one side of the hallway versus infrastructure for two sides of the hallway, the costs go up exponentially on a per square foot and per rentable square foot basis.
Thanks, Mike.
Can everyone see my screen?
No. So there we go.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
There we go.
Thank you. So this is a rendering of the proposed Wave Spa Hotel, obviously looking from the beach back to the hotel. And I'll come back to this rendering, so don't think as though I'm just rushing through it at the moment. But for those, I'm sure everyone is familiar with the site, but as was stated earlier, this is the site that is just to the south of Pier Village, directly adjacent to our Wave Resort. Obviously now spanning, and I'll get to this, from Ocean Boulevard to Ocean Avenue, So in addition to taking the opportunity during this interesting time in our history to reevaluate the plan and to redesign the hotel, we also were able to acquire, if you can see my cursor, the land west of the previously approved hotel, fronting on Ocean Boulevard, obviously with frontage on Morris Avenue as well, really giving us more of an opportunity to not only provide for additional parking, which I'll show you, but also to provide for additional buffering along Ocean Boulevard, which obviously we couldn't do before we had site control. So on this page, you're seeing the first floor of the building, which is essentially partially buried, partially underground, and it's intended to just serve a purpose of parking. On the site, we have a total of 128 spaces, all of which will be serviced by valet, a portion of which are in the garage, namely 77, with 51 spaces on the surface lot, again, directly to the west of this building. But on this level in particular, it's we don't anticipate guests being in here on any regular basis. This will be handled by valet staff. And I'll show you at the first floor how exactly the cars will make their way into the garage. So on the right-hand side of the page, you have Morris. On the bottom of the page, you have Ocean Avenue. And of course, at the top of the page, you have the site that I've referred to a couple times, which has frontage on Ocean Boulevard. So guests or visitors will come in off of Morris Ave. They will be driving to the east. They will enter the site, if you can see my cursor. They will come under the porte cochere, and guests who will be staying at the hotel would naturally leave their car there. Valet would take it from there. And for those cars that would be parked in the garage, they would then be brought directly into the garage via this arrow, and obviously would be parked for whatever period of time is appropriate. If for whatever reason the garage is full, or for whatever reason it makes sense in terms of how long this guest is staying to park it on the surface lot, the valet would take the car out to Morris from the exit, would come back around and would park the car in the surface parking lot on the property. So in summary, the property is, this hotel is completely self-sufficient from a parking standpoint. The other things of note on this floor is number one, there is what's referred to as a lower lobby and an upper lobby. The reason is there's a significant change in grade. When you come into the building, you'll be at a lower grade in the lower lobby, and then you'll have two choices: either utilize what we're labeling as a large glass elevator in order to get up to the upper lobby, which is the main floor, or utilize stairs if you so choose. In addition, on the first floor, inside of the lobby area, you have a bar, obviously the design of which still needs quite a bit of work, but it's shown here just for placement purposes only. A lounge area. We're showing back of house areas, of course. The desk where residents will be greeted is right here, right in front of the lobby elevator from that lower lobby. And then further to the west, this is really the main amenity area inside the building on the first floor. So there's an indoor pool, there's a whirlpool or jacuzzi, there's a fitness center, as well as a kids pool. And then in addition, on the first floor, there are a number of guest rooms, which you'll see will become much more standard as we go up vertically in the building. Outside on this first floor, we have, and you'll see it again when I come back to the rendering, we have an outdoor pool proposed, a jacuzzi, quite a bit of landscaping, and obviously an opportunity for food and beverage as well as leisure by way of chairs and otherwise. So on the second floor, if you were to come up in the elevator, you would be right in front of a reception area for the namesake of the building, the spa area. So we have 9 treatment rooms proposed, which wrap the west side of the building. In addition, we have sauna and steam. We have men's and women's locker rooms. And then outside, again, you'll see this in the rendering, there is a cabana deck, as we're referring to it, which has cabanas, which has a hot tub, and which has an opportunity for people to sit out and enjoy the views and enjoy the sun. In addition, we have a number of guest rooms on this floor, which are on the eastern side of the floor plate. Floors 3 through 5 are identical in nature. They are all the same rooms that are just stacked one on top of another. There are no amenities on this floor. It's very specific just to guest rooms. And then on the 6th floor, it is a bit unique. It obviously is the premium floor. It's got better views, of course, than the lower floors. And therefore, we've made some larger rooms, which would accommodate, and we've found quite a need for this, larger groups, families who are looking for not only adjoining rooms, but rooms where they could congregate to have more of a living room, more of a suite type of offering.
Excuse me, Michael, 1 second. Could everyone make sure that you're muted? Because there's some background noise coming through.
And Madam Chair, at this point, if it's okay with you, I'd like to bring in Marla Roller, who's our landscape architect. She'll talk us through the next few slides, and then I'll come back and present the renderings back to you.
Good.
Great, thank you. Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Marla Roller, and I'm a landscape architect working with Michael and the Kushner Group on this very exciting project in Long Branch. We have had a few meetings with Long Branch, and we've taken a lot of their concerns and advice, to heart, and have come back with this revised plan that you see before you now. So I'm going to walk you through what we're proposing, starting up in the Ocean Boulevard end of the property. So up in this end of the property, we have proposed along the sidewalk area, a couple of benches, and right near the intersection of the Boulevard and Morris Avenue, we've expanded the sidewalk area into a semicircular patio area that also has some bench seating. So we've brought some public seating area to that side of the property on the west side of the property. That whole sitting area is buffered by an intensely landscaped berm. The berm is giving us some elevation, aiding to the privacy and screening of the parking lot. The back of the berm is screened with a variety of evergreen shrubs and trees. The front of the berm is sprinkled with some flowering trees and shrubs, a lot of perennials and grasses. So there's a really nice buffer there along the front. It enhances the Ocean Boulevard experience and provides nice buffering to the project. There's landscaping around project signage. And as we walk down around Morris Avenue, there's additional screening along the sidewalk between the parking lot and the avenue. In the center, you'll notice that we took out the parking that was there, and we've made that whole center island an enhanced landscape island with some berming and additional plantings in the middle there. So that'll be a much nicer experience as you're coming down Morris Ave. On both sides, you're going to have a significant amount of landscaping as you traverse down that way toward the ocean. The entrance area to the project, right past you come in, there's going to be trees throughout the parking lot where space permits, and some trees also flanking the building. Then there's going to be a raised berm area with a variety of plantings between Morris Ave and the Porte Cochere. So you'll have a nice buffer there as well. A lot of lower lying plantings so that there's still no sight problem coming in and out of that driveway. And as you walk a little bit further down Morris Avenue, we've got a variety of evergreen plantings and deciduous flowering shrubs that soften that whole wall as you walk down there. Then you're going to wrap around that corner to Morris Ave and Ocean Ave. So at the corner, you can see we've put a very expanded public plaza space there. It's all going to be, we're proposing a material that would be consistent with the public sidewalk area. So the whole thing just feels like an open, expansive public sidewalk area where we will offer ground level plantings and seating opportunities in that space. And as you move further across Ocean Avenue, we have a series of other sitting areas. There's a center, smaller sitting area with built-in benches. That transitions up to some tiered landscape planters. There'll be a variety of perennials and grasses and shrubs, things that'll spill over some of those walls. The lower wall can serve as a seat wall. And then as you move further toward the south, we have another very large public plaza area. And that is also framed by some ground level plantings that step up to the wall that separates the upper private balcony above. And again, we're giving another opportunity for benches and table seating there, and also some on patio planters to soften that whole space. So we've given, I think overall, about 3,600 square feet, 3,700 square feet in that range of public plaza area. And you can see a little bit of a more up close look at the amount of planting that we're offering to soften and enclose some of those patio spaces, and just the amount of patio space that we now have down there. And we would propose that the edges would still be the Belgian block, consistent with the other pavers that are going on in the area up and down the street. This is a little more close-up view of that upper area on Ocean Boulevard, and you can see the semicircular sitting area up at the corner where the angle of the property changes, and a few more benches along the sidewalk, and how significant the landscaping will be on top of the berm area around the signage, and then wrapped all the way around the parking lot.
Thank you, Marla.
Thank you.
So what we've also gone ahead and done, because again, in speaking with the mayor and Nick and George and Lou and others, we understand the fact that Ocean Avenue and Ocean Boulevard, for that matter, are priority areas, and making sure that this isn't just a project that is dropped into a site, but it's a project that welcomes in the public. And we share in the importance of that approach. We've gone ahead and updated this rendering to really show what Marla just described, namely a large plaza area with landscaping and an inviting opportunity at the corner of Morris and Ocean Avenue, the seating areas that she described running the length of the frontage of the building, as well as this larger seating area and public area at the far southern end of the property. And on the Ocean Boulevard side, and I'll say this so I can save Nick from having to chime in, he pointed out the fact that the Wave Spa signage is too large, and he's absolutely right. This will absolutely be scaled back and is inaccurate as shown in the rendering. But in spite of that, we feel as though this really presents a great face on the western side of the building, in spite of the fact that the rooms are directed naturally towards the east for views. We've gone ahead based on feedback from the city, which again, I think was great. We've wrapped balconies around this side. We've added some different materials onto the building. We've added glazing where it's practical to do so, namely in this line. And as Marla described from a landscaping perspective, although I don't think this rendering necessarily does the change in grade justice, we've added a berm, we've added significant plantings, as well as a seating area. So look, we see this corner as the southern gateway into Pier Village, and certainly understand the importance of that, not only for our project, but for Pier Village and the whole area as a whole. So, Madam President, that brings us to the end of our formal presentation. We're more than happy to hear any questions or comments, and I leave it to you.
Hey, thank you, Michael, and the whole team. Nick, I see your hand is raised. You're muted.
I'm sorry, Council President, that was an error.
Okay. So let me just open it up for questions from anybody.
I'll ask a couple questions. Mike, are you planning to have any restaurants or anything inside there?
Good question. Thank you. We're planning to have a commercial kitchen in the hotel, which really is intended to serve, I would say, light meals or snacks in the hotel in particular. Given the adjacency with the Wave and obviously the common ownership, we're hoping to service more intensive food needs by use of the Wave facilities. And that means that people either can go there, of course, for meals, or they could have food delivered from the Wave Hotel to the Wave Spa.
So this is basically just for your clients, not for the outside people, right?
That's well, let me answer it as accurately as possible. Although I don't expect this to be a huge destination for people from the outside to come for food. If someone in Pier Village, for example, wanted to come and have a drink in the bar or have a light bite in the hotel, they'd certainly be able to do so. It's not going to be an expansive facility, so I don't necessarily expect it to be heavily utilized in that way, but it certainly would be open to the public.
Okay, thanks. And another question was, when you say you have 77 parking spots in the basement, in the lower lobby,
Yes,
is that counting the double parking?
it is. It's counting
Okay.
double, just to be clear, it's counting double parking, and there's a number of stacked spots as well. 24? There are 24 stackers proposed in the garage as well.
Yeah, I see you have the stacking in the outside also. Is that correct?
No stackers, no vertical stackers outside.
Oh, no vertical, yeah, just one in front of each other, I saw.
That's right.
So that means you're gonna have valet at all time.
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
I have a question. How many units are there in this spa?
That was my question.
Thank you. Yeah, I apologize for not mentioning that. 107 hotel rooms.
Okay, and previously there were the same amount?
There was 102 previously.
Okay, and one more question, the parking, which is always an issue for everyone. How are you going to accommodate, because I know that parking from the hotel right now is being utilized in this lot. What's going to happen with all those cars that normally would park there from the hotel? Where would they where would you accommodate that parking?
Another great question. So when we are ready to put a shovel in the ground here, that parking obviously would be lost. We've gone ahead and updated our parking management plan, which was approved with the prior approval, actually with the waive approval and then with the ONATA approval. We have the excess capacity within Pier Village. So it's really a matter of, as you can see, if you wanted to take a look at the parking management plan, it's really a matter of management. It's really a matter of making sure the cars that should be dispersed in certain locations are dispersed in those particular locations. Signage definitely needs to be updated in Pier Village in order to properly direct people. But the short answer is we do have the excess capacity. And although it's simpler for them to be parking in a surface parking lot temporarily directly adjacent to the wave, they will in the future be parked in existing garages within Pier Village.
Oh, okay, so you're going to utilize the other garages? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Michael, what's the projection in terms of the number of jobs that will be created?
Yeah, so we're thinking let me leave construction jobs aside for a moment. But in terms of permanent jobs, it's 20 to 30 permanent jobs in this building between cleaning and obviously all different levels of operations. In terms of construction jobs, although I just mentioned it, I haven't really thought through it, but a project like this that will take, let's say 18 months to construct, there will be, I would say, hundreds of construction jobs and obviously many more indirect jobs, right, in the way of suppliers and consultants and otherwise.
Mm-hmm. And just what's the general policy for hiring local?
In terms of our policy?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything in the ordinance that requires a priority necessarily, but of course we would love to hire people locally. Not only because we're significant property owners in town and would like to support the community, but frankly, from a practical standpoint, if people live closer to a project, there's that much less of a likelihood that travel is going to be an issue. So if there's some way in order to help to facilitate that, we are certainly open to suggestion.
Wonderful. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Let me just see. Any hands raised? I don't see any hands raised. So I think we might be good, Michael.
Great. Again, we thank you for your time. I'm sure that Lou will speak to you about process and we look forward to hearing back from you in that regard. And if there's any additional questions that come up after the fact, we're more than happy to address them.
Good. Thank you. Very nice job.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, moving along on our agenda. So now we get to meet one of our new employees for the city. So let me turn this over to Richard Thompson, who is our new person in community development. Michael, take a few minutes, introduce yourself. And I'm sorry, Richard, take a few minutes and let us just get to know you a little bit.
Sure. Thank you for having me first. I'm extremely excited to be working for the Office of Community and Economic Development. So a little bit about myself. I have a bachelor's in political science and a master's in law and governance, both from Montclair State University. I've worked with the townships of Bloomfield and Montclair in various capacities, from supporting businesses in terms of marketing, photography, social media management, and then also aerial photography as well. And then I also run my own business where I focus on aerial photography and videography, also known as drones. And I have experience in business marketing through my company as well. And then pretty much in my free time, I enjoy ice skating, photography, and hiking. Nothing too crazy, but.
Very nice. Good. Richard, what do you see as some of the priority kind of items on the agenda right now for the office?
So speaking with Mr. Jones, I think one of the biggest priorities, number one, was getting the social media establishment up, having the ability to basically say, we're able to give all of the resources to businesses that they need to grow, and having it all combined in one area that they can go to as well.
That's great.
Welcome
Anybody
to the city.
Thank you.
Welcome, my man.
Okay, Richard, so that was easy enough, right? Welcome, glad you joined us here in Long Branch. You're certainly welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting if you would like, or if you want to bow out, and whatever you prefer. But thank you for taking the time to join us, and again, welcome to Long Branch.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, good. So let me group the next few together, old business and new business. Anybody have any items?
I would like to just say something. Hometown Heroes, I'm going to ask all of you to please share the Hometown Hero advertisement on your own Facebook pages so we can get the word out, because March 15th is the deadline. So if you can all do that, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, old or new business? And how about comments, review the regular meeting agenda?
I'm good.
Mr. Mayor, do you want me to raise the comment about the pool ordinance, or is that something we want to handle in executive?
Well, why don't we handle it in executive, and then you wanted to, depending on the council, what the council wants to do, we'll then present it at 7:30. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
I mentioned this, I think, before everybody was on, so I'll just repeat it, which is we'll start off the meeting in the beginning, and I'll just have a moment of silence for Mike DeStefano. And I think we're okay. Not seeing any other comments as far as the meeting agenda. So with that, I need a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to adopt a resolution to go into executive session for the following items. Attorney-client privilege, the first one is waive SPA, and our attorney, Lou Raynone, will lead us through that. The second one is city right-of-way. Our business administrator, Mr. Jackson, will lead us through that, and he will also lead us through the last item on the executive agenda, which is the sporting event. So with that, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I think Heather, we're ready to go into executive.